Hello and welcome to GeoSnippits. I'm Headhardhat. In the next few minutes, we'd like to teach you an interesting bit of information and tidbits about the game, the sport, the obsession, known as geocaching. Now in this episode, we're going to continue on our series of creating your own geocache. This size that we're going to discuss today are smalls. So what we're going to concentrate on today is not only deciding what to put into a small geocache, but more importantly in this episode we're going to concentrate on where to put a geocache, how to decide what is the best spot, what's legal, what's not legal, some do's and don'ts. So today we're going to be getting on the road and we're going to go out and we're going to actually show you some good spots to hide geocaches. So let's quickly go over the different types of shapes of small containers when they come to geocaches. In this particular container, you have a lock and lock box. Really tight seal, fits on very tightly, clamped down four sides, and it's locked shut. These are really good in areas that aren't hot, because hot will take a plastic container like this and sometimes crack them. But if you live in an area that has a lot of rain and cooler temperatures, these are a really good way to go. Plastic containers, you always again want to make sure that they are watertight as much as possible. Get the ones that screw on. Now in this case you can see we already have a logbook and a pen in here. Locks tight. What I highly recommend if you're going to stick with the small size as well, Tupperware or Rubbermaid has containers made for soup. So if you're going to take it to work or to lunch, you don't want your soup rolling all over the place. You know these stay solid. Very good, screw on tight easily, can open and close a million times, very good seal. Always remember for any kind of geocache, watertight is what you want to shoot for, and it depends on your environment on what you want to use. Now that you know which container that you're going to use for your hide, it's interesting to figure out what you want to put into it. Now with it being small, you're very limited to the type of items that you want to put in. You're what is known as swag. Swag can be anything. I highly recommend going to like the dollar store, finding items where you can get a bunch of them for $1. In this particular case, you have erasers, you have clip bags, you can have all sorts of different items for swag. Swag is used for trade. In other words, if you're going to take something out of a geocache, you want to put something that's worth of equal or better value. So when you find a geocache and you want to trade, always carry swag with you. These will be going into these small containers here. Let's show you some examples. Okay, so let's show an example of a small soup container that we're going to use for our geocache. You want to use a logbook. Always remember, it's good to always put your logbook in a little plastic bag. Helps keep it just that much better of a chance of being dry or staying dry. Logbook goes in just nicely. Already have some of these erasers that we're going to put in here. A chip clip, and a geocoin for the next finder. Seal up tight, and it's ready to go. That's our first example. The other one, when you use a camouflage, always remember to write on top of it that it's a geocache, do not remove. A lot of times you don't have to cami these up at all. You can keep them clear like this, depending on where you hide them. It doesn't matter if they're camied or not. It all deals with where you want to place it. So now that we have our geocache all ready to go, why don't we show a quick demonstration of how you can cami a geocache, and then we'll get on the road and start looking into where we can place it. Let's go. Okay, so let's do a quick demonstration of how you want to paint a lock and lock box. First thing that you want to do before you paint it is you want to take some sandpaper. This is some 100 grade here. You want to go around it and just give it a quick brush over. The reason is this is going to cut little grooves into the plastic, and it's going to help keep the paints to stick better. So let's continue on with this and start our painting. Okay, there's different type of paints that you can use. I'm going to be using, in this particular case, a brown flat paint. And just to the left of it there in your screen, you can see some textured paint as well to make it look like concrete. Today we're just going to do the flat, but I thought I'd mention it to you just so that you can be creative if you want. And that's all there is to it. Okay, now we have this particular geocache nice and camming up. Let's go out onto the road and start looking for actual placements, good and bad, where you're going to want to hide a geocache. Let's get on the road. Okay, we're going to hide this small geocache in this little park-like area in Raleigh. The reason that we chose this spot is because it's secluded. There isn't a lot of people around, yet people will visit this area. You have this nice bench here to sit down and enjoy yourself where it goes. What we're going to do is we're going to take this geocache and we're going to place it into the bush. We cover it up with some leaves and you're pretty much done. The main thing is though, you have permission. You always, when you hide a geocache, you always get permission first. That's key. Now this is what I would consider a bad example of where you want to hide a geocache. It looks good to begin with. You have this beautiful tree that's a crown. A crown is when you have 5 or 6 different trees coming out of the same trunk. Looks like it would be a perfect spot to put this. But what's the number one thing that's going to go wrong? You can see the geocache. It's wide open. That's a terrible place. This is going to get muggled. You don't want to put your geocaches where people can see it. Here's another good example of where you'd want to hide an urban geocache of small size. Nice thick bush. All you want to do is reach in, make sure it's in good and tight. It'll stay out of sight and away from the groundskeepers. Again, always with permission. Another good example of how to hide a geocache. Okay, we're out of the city setting and now we're in a park. Parks are so much better when it comes to geocache. Okay, we're at the far end of the park now and we found this really cool place to hide this small geocache. Right here is a bunch of logs. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, hide it right here. This is a good, safe place. Cover it with some leaves and some twigs. And this is a good geocache hide. Now what you want to remember with this is, again, this is protected, away from the elements, shy of rain. You don't have to worry as much about the wind getting this and blowing it. Good place to hide a geocache. So let's go over what we learned today. We learned that small geocaches come in a number of sizes, that you want to go for places of interest when you hide a geocache, that you want your geocache to be protected and above all waterproof so that your logbook doesn't turn into a giant pile of mush. And then we learned how to cammy them, what type of swag to put into them, and some interesting places on where to and where not to hide small geocaches. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode of GeoSnippits and come back real soon, where you'll learn even more interesting information and tidbits about the game, the sport, yes, even the obsession of geocaching. This is Headhardhat saying, we hope to see you out on the trail real soon. Bye-bye, folks.